Good morning everyone. The topic I am going to present is about marine pollution. Topics that are to be discussed are definition of marine pollution, types of marine pollution, causes of marine pollution, effects of marine pollution, preventive measures. Definition of marine pollution. Marine pollution occurs when harmful effects result from the entry into the ocean of chemicals, particles, industrial, agricultural and residential waste, noise or the spread of invasive organisms. 80% of marine pollution comes from land. Air pollution is also a contributing factor by carrying of pesticides or dirt into the ocean. Types of marine pollution. Acidification. The oceans are normally a natural carbon sink, absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Because the levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide are increasing, the oceans are becoming more acidic. Rising ocean temperatures and ocean acidification means that the capacity of ocean carbon sink will gradually get weaker, giving rise to global concerns. Eutrophication. Eutrophication is an increase in chemical nutrients, typically compounds containing nitrogen or phosphorus in an ecosystem. It can result in an increase in the ecosystem's primary productivity and further effects including lack of oxygen and severe reductions in water quality, fish and other animal populations. Estuaries tend to be more eutrophic because land-derived nutrients are concentrated where runoffs enter the marine environment into a confined channel. Estuary means a part of river which joins the sea or the ocean. One proposed solution to eutrophication in estuaries is to restore shellfish populations such as oysters. Oyster reefs remove nitrogen from the water column and filter out suspended solids, subsequently reducing the likelihood or extent of harmful algal blooms or anoxic conditions. Algal blooms are a rapid growth of algae in water due to excessive nutrients. Toxins. Apart from plastics, there are particular problems with other toxins that do not disintegrate rapidly in the marine environment. Examples of persistent toxins are PCBs that are polychlorinated biphenyls, DDT, dichlorodiphenyl trichloroethanes, TBT, tributylene, pesticides, furans, dioxins, phenols, and radioactive waste. Heavy metal are metallic chemical elements that have a relatively high density and are toxic or poisonous at low concentrations. Examples are mercury, lead, nickel, arsenic, and cadmium. Such toxins can accumulate in the tissues of many species of aquatic life in a process called bioaccumulation. Underwater noise. Marine life can be susceptible to noise or the sound pollution from sources such as passing ships, oil exploration seismic surveys, and naval low frequency active sonar. Sound travels more rapidly and over larger distances in the sea than in the atmosphere. Marine animals such as cetaceans often have weak eyesight and live in a world largely defined by acoustic information. Noise from ships and human activity can damage cnidarians and ctenophora, which are important organisms in the marine ecosystem. They promote high diversity and they are used as models for ecology and biology because of their simple structures. When there is underwater noise, the vibrations in the water damage the cilia hairs in coelenterate. Plastic debris. Marine debris is mainly discarded human rubbish which floats on or is suspended in the ocean. 80% of marine debris is plastic, a component that has been rapidly accumulating since the end of World War II. Plastics accumulate because they don't biodegrade in the way many other substances do. They will photodegrade on exposure to the sun, but they do so properly only under dry conditions, and water inhibits this process. In marine environments, photodegraded plastic disintegrates into even smaller pieces while remaining polymers even down to the molecular level. When floating plastic particles photodegrade down to zooplankton sizes, jellyfish attempt to consume them, and in this way the plastic enters the ocean food chain. Causes of marine pollution. Pollution is often classed as point source or non-point source pollution. Point source pollution occurs when there is a single identifiable localized source of the pollution. An example is directly discharging sewage and industrial waste into the ocean. Non-point source pollution occurs when the pollution comes from ill-defined and diffuse sources. Agricultural runoff and windblown debris are the examples. The main causes of marine pollution are direct discharge of waste into the oceans, runoff into the waters due to rain, and pollutants released from the atmosphere. Direct sewage. Pollutants enters rivers and the sea directly from urban sewerage and industrial waste discharges, sometimes in the form of hazardous and toxic waste or in the form of plastics. Inland mining for copper, gold, etc. is another source of marine pollution. Most of the pollution is simply soil which ends up in rivers flowing to the sea. However, some minerals discharged in the course of the mining can cause problems such as copper, a common industrial pollutant which can interfere with the life history and development of coral polyps. Land runoff. Surface runoff from farming as well as urban runoff and runoff from the construction of roads, buildings, ports, channels, and harbours can carry soil and particles laden with carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, and minerals. This nutrient rich water can cause fleshy algae and phytoplankton to thrive in coastal areas known as algal blooms, which have the potential to create hypoxic conditions by using all available oxygen. Polluted runoff from roads and highways can be a significant source of water pollution in coastal areas. Atmospheric pollution. Another pathway of pollution occurs through the atmosphere. Wind-blown dust and debris, including plastic bags, are blown seaward from landfills and other areas. Climate change is rising ocean temperatures and raising levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. These rising levels of carbon dioxide are acidifying the oceans. This in turn is altering aquatic ecosystems and modifying fish distributions with impacts on sustainability of fisheries and the livelihoods of communities that depend on them. Healthy ocean ecosystems are also important for the mitigation of climate change. Effects of marine pollution. Point number 1. Toxic waste on marine animals. The oil spill is dangerous to marine life in several ways. The oil spilled in ocean could get on the gills and feathers of marine animals, which makes it difficult for them to move or fly properly or feed their children. The long-term effect on marine life can include cancer, failure in the reproductive system, behavioral changes, and even death. Second point, depletion oxygen content in water. Most of the debris in the ocean does not decompose and remain in the ocean for years. It uses oxygen as it degrades. As a result of this, oxygen levels go down. When oxygen levels go down, the chances of survival of marine animals like whales, turtles, sharks, dolphins, penguins for a long time also goes down. Third point, failure in reproductive system of sea animals. Industrial and agricultural wastes include various poisonous chemicals that are considered hazardous for marine life. Chemicals from pesticides can accumulate in the fatty tissue of animals, leading to failure in their reproductive system. Fourth point, effect on food chain. Chemicals used in industries and agriculture get washed into the rivers and from there are carried into the oceans. These chemicals do not get dissolved and sink at the bottom of the ocean. Small animals ingest these chemicals and later eaten by large animals, which then affects the whole food chain. Affects human health. Animals from impacted food chain are then eaten by humans, which affects their health as toxins from these contaminated animals get deposited in the tissues of people and can lead to cancer, birth defects, or long-term health problems. Preventive measures. Reducing the use of plastic products. Plastics take thousands of years to decompose, during which time it poses a terrible threat to life in the oceans. Thus, reduction in the use of plastic products could help in significantly reducing the rates of ocean pollution. Littering the beaches should be stopped. Reducing the use of chemical fertilizers. Runoffs too pollute the oceans immensely. To prevent this, the use of chemical fertilizers must also be controlled and regulated. It must be remembered that excess use of chemical fertilizers harms not only soil but also the water bodies nearby and ultimately the ocean. These runoffs are so toxic that they can very easily kill marine life. Reducing the energy use. As the population increases, our demand for energy increases too. A major chunk of this energy is produced from petroleum. This petroleum is obtained by drilling of ocean beds. Any spillage during the procedure could harm marine life. Not only that, but the procedure itself also violates the marine ecological balance. So, by controlling our energy use, we could also solve the problem of ocean pollution. Thank you.